Well, hello, Stampers. It's the Pampered Stamper, and today I have a very fun technique for you. It's called the faux leather technique, and I did a video on this years ago. I'm thinking maybe even 10 years ago, and at that time I was inspired by fellow Canadian demonstrator Tina Zink. Now, if you do a Google of faux leather, you'll find all kinds of fun things, but this is actually a super simple technique that only requires a few things. Now, I have to say a little disclaimer here that the fun foam, which is the key ingredient that you need, you can usually get it at craft shops, sometimes at dollar stores, on Amazon in the Netherlands at bol.com, and then also at specialty craft shops. Now, my advice to you would be to go to a specialty craft shop because the fun foam that I'm using, like it's really meant for children's crafts, and mine is 2 millimeters thick. You would ideally want it to be at least 3 millimeters thick because the thicker it is, the more of an impression you get and the more realistic your faux leather will be. But let's take a look and see what I have. So I have here, these are the three colors that I chose. I had to buy a full pack that cost me almost 12 euros, and it came with lots of different colors. It came with 6 sheets of these. So they're, yeah, A4 size, and I've used all three of them. Okay, and then I'm using soft seedlings. I've used nuts about squirrels, and I used regal reindeer. So what you want to do, you need a heat tool. That's your most important thing, is the heat tool. And you want early espresso ink, and you want crumb cake ink. Okay, so those are the two things. This is the new style of ink pad. This is the old one. And then the last thing you're going to need is these blending brushes. Okay, and I did use the Stylish Shapes framelits, which are these, to cut out my fun foam. Now, a hint, this is a super important tip. First, cut out your foam, okay? Cut it out into the shape that you want. I don't have any of the dark here because the dark is harder to see on. Before you stamp, because if you stamp first and then cut out, the ink takes longer to dry and you'll get ink residue left on your cutting plates, and then that will transfer to your next project, which really ruins it. So don't make that mistake. Guess who did? Okay, so what you need to do is take your heat tool, and I'm going to start, I think, with this small round here, okay? And the purpose is to heat it up till it gets soft. But before you heat it, you want to get your stamp ready. So I think I'm going to use the Regal Reindeer, and I'm going to use the big one for this one. So we're going to take him out, put him on a block, move that out of the way, lay it down. There, I need to clean my blocks. I desperately need to clean my blocks. Okay, so open up your ink pad, ink up your deer, so, and put him aside. He's ready to go. And now we're going to take this fun foam and we're going to heat it up. And you're going to heat it till the sides start to curl. You know what? I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Okay, let's have a look. There. So you'll see this stuff transform slightly. Okay, so here we go. It's on the number 2. There's a number 1 and a number 2. You want it on the number 2. And then just hold it above. I know it's not a great view, but I don't want it flying around. See, it's starting to curl already. It also starts to smell a little bit, so you don't want to make too many of these at once. Okay. And now I'm going to ink up my thing, spread it a little bit with your fingers, and lower it down, and then press hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see what it looks like? You get this lovely impression of the deer. And it does look like leather, doesn't it? On the other side, you'll see how it's lighter. If you don't see that light image, then you haven't heated it enough. So we're going to just put this aside for a minute, and we're going to use a different stamp set. We're going to use this light one, and I'm going to use the soft seedlings. Okay. Here, and you can do this with photopolymer as well, like I did with the squirrel. So let's just move that out of the way. Ink it up. And this is a distinctive stamp, which means it comes out in shades. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. put the square here, and we're going to heat it up. So you heat till the edges curl. And you actually want most of the heat in the middle, because that's where your stamped image is going to be. But basically the whole thing needs to be heated up till it starts to curl. So it's starting to get nice and hot. Okay, that's good. You don't want it curled so far that you can't do anything with it. So I'm just going to lower it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a nice heavy press. You could stand up and put your weight into it. There. That looks pretty nice. And I probably should have stood up. Although you can see the different shading on the back, so it's not bad. So we'll move that aside. The next step you're going to do is you're going to take your blending brush. Let's see, am I focused in too much? No. Dab, dab, and then little circles. And then you get that edge that looks really nice. I waited for a little while. If you do it right away, the foam is still soft and it might curl. And then I'm going to show you the trick. I'm going to show you my finished card, and then I'm going to show you an alternative. So here's my deer. I think it looks quite nice. And now I'm going to zoom out and show you my card. Here it is. So here's my squirrel card. So this was with a photopolymer stamp, and it's not a detailed stamp, but it still works and it looks really nice, I think. I'm sorry about how it's catching the light and the focus, but it's not too bad. No, it's too dark. Okay, so we're going to put that aside, and to get that look, I'm going to use my Leaf Fall embossing folder. So what you're going to do is open it up. Let me move my other things aside. And I could never remember which side of the folder to ink up, because usually it's the side of the label. But when I'm not sure, I just ink up the whole thing. So I've got my crumb cake, and I'm just going to tap it all over. So you can see what's happening there. Now, I just re-inked this one, so I don't know if that's going to look good. I'm going to maybe see some lines. Then I'm going to do the other side as well. It's just doing the relief, and I think this is the side that I want, but we'll check and then you can see what the difference is. Okay, so now I'm going to lay my cardstock in here, close it up. Oh crap, it moved. That's not good. That's not what I wanted. Pick it up again. Hopefully I didn't ruin it. Lay it in, close it. And then it's going to go in my die cutting machine. So this is plate number 1. Lay it on here. Then number 4 goes on top. There we go. And then I'm just going to move this whole thing out of the way. I don't usually like to use the die cutting machine in a video, but I'm going to give it a try. So there it goes. We put this in, and we're going to turn it through. So there it goes. It's like a great big wringer washer. And now it's coming out the other end. And let's have a look. So here's the one side. I don't want this side, not for this card. I like this side. So this is what it looks like. I'll put that away. And then we're going to put our card together. So I like, let's see, here's my deer. I like to put the deer on another layer like this. So double whammy, deer in the forest. And I'm going to show you the little technique. So you're going to take some of this linen ribbon and cut it off just a little wider than the card. So then we're going to take our tear and tape. We're going to flip this over and put tear and tape on both sides, like so. Give it a good firm rub. And on the other side. there. And then I'm going to take my pokey tool. Oops, that's not good. I just want to take the backing off that tape. I don't use this tape a lot because I don't have the patience for it. I usually use a liquid adhesive. But when you're putting, oh, that's still no good. When you're putting ribbon on and you want to secure it, then it's a good idea to use this tape. There, push it down. So now I'm just going to flip it. I'm going to lay my tape across, my ribbon where I want it. And I think I want it about this high. Press it on the back. Press it on the back. And then I'm going to put it on a very vanilla card base. So I have my very vanilla card. I'm going to fold it in half. And this is just half of an A4 or half of an 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to take this piece, and you know what, we can trim this a little bit. I don't need this bulk. There, see, so you're not wasting a lot of ribbon here. It does look nice on the other side too, doesn't it? Actually, it does. So I'm just going to take some liquid adhesive, cover up my pretty pattern, and we're going to adhere that to the card. There. Liquid adhesive is fast and it's strong. So here we go, top corners. Give it a good press. And then I'm going to take this linen thread and put it underneath. There it goes. And I'm going to tie it in a bow. First a knot. Sorry, I'm just flipping this around so that it's comfortable for my hand. So you first tie it in a knot, like so. And it's just a really simple technique to give a little bit of dimension and a little bit of texture to your card. And you can make this bow as big or as little as you like, but it has a really nice natural feel to it, like so. And then I'm going to take my deer and put some liquid adhesive on the back of this one. There. You probably could layer this just on cardstock, but I like the idea of the foam, and I like it that it's there. I might put something heavy on this, like a punch, for a little while, and I could either, yeah, I definitely want to do that. So I'm going to do that for a minute, put a punch on it, and then I want to show you something else. So I'm just going to do that. And look, I also did it with a saying. Isn't that cool? I thought that looked really nice, and we can try that with something else. The other tip that I want to share with you is that look at my stamps. If you look on them from this side, you can see that I've cut them. So you want to trim them as closely as you can, because if you don't trim them, then that you'll get an outline in your fun foam, and you don't want that. I'm just looking for my other stamp, but oh yeah, here it is. And I did the same thing. I really trimmed it. So take a look on the other side, and you can see how I've trimmed it with scissors. It doesn't have to look pretty, but that's what makes it functional. So while our deer is drying, I want to show you one more saying on a different color. Yeah, on the darker one. I want to use this Merry Christmas and see how it turns out. So here we have Merry Christmas. I don't know if it's too small, but sometimes you just have to play. And I've also trimmed this one. You can see it looks a little ugly. We want to use our early espresso again. So ink it up and just leave it laying. Oh, that's okay, I guess. It's tilting a little. We're going to heat up our, and I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better, because it's really cool to watch that happen. There. Okay, so we're going to take our heat tool on the number 2 setting, and we're just going to heat it till it starts flipping its edges a bit. And like I said, you're probably better off with a 3mm fun foam. See, so now it's totally curved up, so you want to flatten it a little bit. Oops. It takes a while to cool off. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so there is a little Let's see if I lift it up a little bit. There is a little line under the Christmas, but that's not necessarily a mistake. People don't have to know that. So we're going to take our blending brush and then just go along the edges just to make it look a little bit more leathery, a little more distressed. But I'm happy with how that turned out. Maybe we'll end up using it on our card. And then we can compare the different. See, because you're using a smaller piece, it does warp a little bit. It's not perfectly symmetrical anymore, but that's okay. Here it is in the Thinking of You. And I'm trying to get it to focus a bit better, but the light isn't that great in my studio in the Netherlands. Okay, let's take a look and see. Oh goodness, it moved. Okay, so this is not ideal. So I might need to, see, it doesn't dry at all very fast, but it is flatter now. And the nice thing about our Tombow is that it does dry clear. So what I was thinking is, let me unzoom. Okay, I was thinking to put it like so, and then pop it up so that it's, when you're going over ribbon, it's a good idea to pop. And then you could do your Merry Christmas right here at the bottom. And that's a really nice masculine card. I am thinking though that for stability, I might, because this is kind of, I'm going to put it on cardstock. So we're going to put it on early espresso cardstock. But the key is to play, because when you play, you find out what works and what doesn't work. So I have cut a piece of early espresso, and since this takes so long to dry, it's no problem to just peel this off. I might put cardstock on the other one. And you know what? This is good to go just the way it is. I don't think I'm going to add any more. I'm just going to give that a nice press. And then on the back, we're going to put some dimensionals. And I'm going to use my black dimensionals. And what I do, these I haven't used in a long time. That's better. I'm going to make sure that goes like that. I want to straddle the ribbon. So I'm going to put 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. And that way I don't have that ribbon causing any bulk underneath. It helps to make sure that your card isn't too thick. See, it's nice that it's white backings. And then here we go. There. And then I think just liquid adhesive on the back of this Merry Christmas. And not too much. You don't want it oozing. There. And then, like I said, you could put a book or something on it, but this actually sticks quite well. And I don't mind that the edges are up a little bit. It gives it a little bit of a vintage feel. So there we have the deer, and here we have the squirrel. Now I can show you, we can do the squirrel on a lighter color. Let's just move that. So here's the squirrel. He's a bit there. And then in the inside, hope you're feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Fun, hey? Okay, one more, and then we're going to call it a day. I'll show you at the end, I will show you some of my trial runs, because if you do end up buying a pack of, here's the squirrel, if you do end up buying a pack of the mixed cheap fun foam, then use the ugly colors to play and see which stamp sets work and which ones don't. So I'm just going to leave that on here. I'm going to heat this up. So remember, you heat it till it starts to curl. It also starts to smell a little bit, so make sure you're in a room that has some good ventilation. I just opened the window. You would hate to get a headache or something. So make sure your stamp is well inked. Move your fingers to set it aside a little bit, and then give it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hard press. And there we have him. So there he is in, let's see, yeah, you can see the slight discoloration from the heating. So that's good. Then you know you've done it well. And I don't feel like waiting, so I'm just going to distress it right away. And so, like I said, you can do it in both rubber, red rubber, and photopolymer. And now I'm going to show you in ugly pink which other sets I tried and then which ones I decided to keep going with. You can also alter your shape by using the square and then moving it a little bit to cut it again. So you get a rectangle instead of a square. I thought this would be really nice for this deer here. Do you want to see? Let's have a look. Why not? Why not? We're having fun. And I really like this deer. I love the set. Regal Reindeer is a set that just is super nostalgic to me. It makes me want to visit the Scandinavian countries. Okay, one more. It just doesn't get old, does it? Once your heat gun is warmed up, it seems to heat up more quickly. Okay, turn it off, Jackie. Flatten it out a little. Tap, tap, tap. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hard, hard press. And there we have it. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. Someone said, you know, they would make a great scrapbook accessory as well. I think it also looks really nice when you don't have the whole image and that you only have a part. Now, I don't know if I have any examples of that, but I'll blog about it. And so you'll see them on my blog. I think I did this as a technique at a Stampin' Up! Day on Saturday, and the people really loved it. And there's some pictures from that. So here it is in with a flower. Do you remember those purses, those leather tooled purses in the 60s and 70s with flowers? That's what this one reminds me of. But you see, I first did it in pink to see if it would work. And in the pink one, I don't think I quite heated it enough, but it did give me an idea that yes, it would work. I really like this one. I thought it was great. And then I thought this one was really interesting. This one didn't work at all. The typewriter is too detailed of a stamp. You didn't get an impression. I tried it again, and it worked here, but not on the typewriter part. So the typewriter was a no-go. Now look at this. The wolf on the brown, you just kind of get an outline and it looks like a blob. You'd have to guess if you wouldn't even know if it was a wolf. But on the pink, you could see that it's a wolf. So on the light brown, you could do the wolf. So those were my my trials. I did like the leaf. I thought the leaf was pretty cool. Now look how the leaf will transform when we put some ink on it. Let's try that, and then we'll call it a day. So the blending brush is just really a great tool for this. You will get inky fingers. I'm sorry, my whole desk is shaking. It was probably doing that for the other ones too, and I didn't notice. I'm sorry about that. Oh well, maybe you'll feel right at home. So be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Share it on Pinterest or Facebook. There's a share button right underneath, and you can subscribe by clicking on the bottom right corner on the red subscribe button. But isn't that cool? So yeah, it's a real easy technique. I hope that you give it a try, and I'd love to see what you make. So I hope you have a super day. The links for all the supplies that I used will be in the description below the video. You can click on them to shop with me. I always love new customers. So, alrighty guys, have a wonderful day. Bye.